Welcome to your essential crypto briefing. The market has been an absolute roller coaster this week, and we're here to break down all the key signals you need to know. The big story? A market that's sharply divided.
So, on the surface, things might look like a cautious recovery, but you just have to dig a little deeper and you'll find this fascinating split. You've got the giants kind of stumbling, while some new challengers are making some serious moves. So, yeah, the big picture says recovery, but the real stories, well, they're in the individual coin movements.
We're going to break down exactly why Bitcoin, the king of crypto, suddenly took a 20% dive. It all kicked off when this classic, and let's be honest, kind of terrifying technical indicator showed up on the charts. Then, we'll get into a bit of a silent takeover. I'm talking about how Solana quietly, almost sneakily surpassed Ethereum in a really critical metric. And that sent some major ripples across the world of decentralized finance, or DeFi. And of course, we've got to cover the surge in XRP. It climbed a solid 8% this week. We'll unpack the key tech upgrades that have analysts looking at a pretty bold new price target. Okay, let's dive right in with the market leaders, Bitcoin and Ethereum. It was a pretty tough week for the top two, as both of them faced some significant headwinds that definitely rattled investor confidence. First off, there's a key term you need to know: the death cross. Yep, sounds pretty dramatic, right? Well, this bearish signal appeared on Bitcoin's chart, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's a technical pattern that often comes before a big price drop. And believe me, it spooked a lot of investors this week. And this technical signal, it had a very real impact. That death cross helped make November Bitcoin's second worst month of the entire year, wrapping up with a painful 17% loss. The result of this sell-off was, well, it was staggering. A massive $1 trillion just got wiped from Bitcoin's total market cap. And the data shows this was mostly driven by short-term holders who were selling their positions at a loss, which just added to that downward pressure. Now, let's shift our focus over to Ethereum. The pressure here came from a different place, but it was just as powerful. A single large holder, what we call a whale in the crypto world, dumped 38,000 ETH worth $112 million right onto the market. And that pushed the price down to around $3,022. So for anybody watching ETH right now, the outlook is really split. On one hand, you've got the technicals and this whale activity suggesting a potential drop down to the $2,600 range. But on the other hand, there's a major network upgrade coming up that could be the catalyst for a rally toward 3,500. Talk about a cliffhanger.
But hey, while the giants were under all this pressure, a totally different story was playing out. So let's move on to the challengers and see how things look completely different for Solana and XRP.
The story for Solana this week is really all about the fundamentals. Its core tech, I'm talking about its incredible transaction speed, is translating directly into real, tangible market dominance. And here is the proof of that growing dominance. For the very first time, Solana's trading volume on decentralized exchanges, those are the platforms where you trade directly with other users, has officially surpassed Ethereum's. This is a huge milestone. It shows that developers and users are flocking to Solana's high-speed network. Meanwhile, XRP had a trio of really bullish developments. First, smart contracts went live on their testnet. That's big. Second, Ripple announced it's exploring staking, which would let holders earn rewards. And third, the supply of XRP on exchanges has just plummeted by 45%, which signals investors are holding on for the long term. So you take that combo of tech development and a supply shock, and that's what powered its 8% price jump. But it does raise a pretty key question for the community. Is it the new utility from smart contracts, or is it that supply squeeze that's going to have the biggest impact on future growth? We'd love to hear what you think. Okay, time for a rapid-fire round on some of the other notable movers in the altcoin and meme coin space. Trust me, there was a lot of action this week beyond just the top 10. First up, Injective. The project dramatically cut its supply by burning almost 6.8 million INJ tokens in November alone. Now that's over 13% of its total supply, which really helped its price hold strong right around that $6 mark. Next, Pi Network had an absolutely massive week, surging 67%. This explosive move came right after the project announced a strategic partnership with City Games, which signals a huge push into the gaming world. Now, on the flip side, it was a pretty rough week for Dogecoin. Institutional inflows into investment funds that track Doge, well, they plummeted by a staggering 80%. This signals that big money is losing interest, and that put a lot of downward pressure on the original meme coin's price. And in a really fascinating crossover moment, a Ripple executive actually went public and told the XRP community to pay close attention to what Solana is doing, specifically with its governance model. I mean, this kind of cross-chain respect is pretty rare and could hint at some future collaborations. Wow, what a week! We've seen the leaders face some heavy selling pressure while the challengers posted some major wins. So what are the crucial takeaways from all this action? Here's your game plan. 1. Keep a close eye on Bitcoin's chart. Can it recover from that death cross? 2. Watch the performance gap. Will Solana and XRP keep outperforming the giants? And 3. Track those institutional money flows. They're a key indicator of where the market sentiment is heading. And here's a final tip for you. In a market that is sending such mixed signals, where some coins are rising on strong fundamentals and others are falling on just sentiment, it is more important than ever to focus on projects with clear, tangible progress and real-world utility. This leaves us with one final and pretty provocative thought. Is this week's divergence just a temporary blip? A short-term fluctuation? Or are we at the very beginning of a permanent and fundamental shift in the crypto power balance? Now, that's something to think about. Thanks for watching.